We've already seen two big decisions from the U.S. Supreme Court come down today, but this is the ruling that everyone is waiting for. Will Hobby Lobby, a Christian-owned company, be forced to provide emergency contraception as part of its health insurance plan? The U.S. Supreme Court expected to hand down that decision soon. Now, Hobby Lobby already covers birth control for its employees. Its issue is with requirement in Obamacare to cover emergency contraception as well. The company, Hobby Lobby, objects to 4 drugs: the morning after pill, Plan B, Ella, and 2 forms of IUDs. Hobby Lobby asserts these drugs are potentially life-terminating, although there is no scientific basis for that assertion. But Hobby Lobby is taking no chances. It's lobbying its position on YouTube.
While the Green family has no objection to providing 16 of the 20 FDA-approved drugs and devices under the federal mandate, providing 4 of the drugs and devices that have the potential to terminate a life conflicts with their faith.
This is an issue of life that we cannot be a part of taking life. And so to be in a situation where our government is telling us that we have to be is incredible.
So let's talk about this now. Joining me now are Jonathan Merritt, senior columnist for Religion News Service, and the Reverend Jackie Lewis, a senior minister for Middle Collegiate Church in New York. Good morning to both of you, and thank you for being here.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. Jonathan, I want to start with you. You wrote an article in The Week questioning why Hobby Lobby calls itself a Christian business in the first place when it does business with China. After mentioning the minimum wage in Shanghai is less than $10 a day, you say, quote, "The Bible is replete with calls for economic justice. Can you call yourself a Christian business when you leverage your profits to support an economic system that blatantly perpetuates injustice? Please expound."
Yeah, well, you know, not everybody found this article interesting, and even fewer people, I think, from the right particularly enjoyed this article or agreed with this article. And the reason is Hobby Lobby has become sacrosanct among conservatives. It's an organization that cannot be challenged. But I raised some questions in this about their dealings in China. I mean, here you have an organization who says they cannot be forced to invest their money in a system that might provide for abortions, but they're spending tens of millions of dollars every year in China, who has a one-child policy. There are over 35,000 abortions performed in China every single day. Many of these have the look of rape, as has been purported. So they've got women there who are being forced to have abortions, and they're investing their monies there. They're the 20th worst country in the world for child labor. So I don't understand how you can invest tens of millions of dollars in things like child labor and cheap labor so that you can provide cheap trinkets for customers, and then say somehow that you have to be a consistent spender of your money in the marketplace according to Christian values.
So Reverend Lewis, why doesn't Hobby Lobby just boycott China's products and not sell them if it's, you know, if it's so concerned about abortion?
I think, Carol, that Jonathan raises really important questions about their ethics, the Christian ethics that Hobby Lobby is claiming to hold. For example, Steve Green says that he can't spend money when he believes it's causing the end of life. But in fact, as Jonathan points out so well, women in China commit suicide at high rates. Girls' bodies in China don't matter. And so there's a really important question in there to be raised. But I think perhaps even more important is the way that we're talking about Hobby Lobby as though they are a Christian person. You said it earlier, this is a company that is owned by a Christian person, and a certain kind of Christian person, an evangelical white Protestant Christian person. And research shows that all across Christendom, minority Protestants, white Protestants, even Catholics, the majority of the folk that are Christian believe that women have a right to have contraceptives offered to them by their healthcare provider. It is only evangelical white Protestants who disagree with that, only at 40%. So I think we need to stop talking about these companies as people. They are not people. They are owned by people who might be Muslim, Christian, or Jew. And if we don't really pay attention to this, the problem is that not only will bosses be in the bedrooms, bosses will also be withholding perhaps other health care. Maybe they'll withhold contraception and blood transfusions and that kind of thing.
Right, right. And just one clarification, because I am Catholic. Catholic Church is against all contraception, period. Nothing. That's the Catholic churches. But most Catholics do take contraceptives, so there you have that.
Yes, they
Jonathan,
do.
can a company be Christian?
Well, let me say, I'm pro-contraception. Those that do not cause abortions. I'm also pro-life. I'm evangelical. I've never opposed Hobby Lobby's case before the Supreme Court. I'm a little bit torn on that issue. But I think the Reverend actually brings up a very important point. What's interesting is that the evangelicals who claim that Hobby Lobby is a Christian business also say that the Bible should be their supreme guide for life and for practice, the way that they talk and the way that they live. If you read the New Testament, you will find that the phrase Christian is never applied to a business, to an organization, or to a government. So the phrase is nonsensical from a biblical perspective. It is only applied to individuals in all of the Scripture. I think additionally, you have a really weird question that you have to ask then, exactly what makes a Christian business Christian? Is it that they have a Christian CEO? Okay, well in that case, FedEx is a Christian business. Is it that they do Christian things? So they're closed on Sundays, or they oppose abortion. They do something that you consider to be Christian. Well, that sort of has this quasi-corporate feel of works righteousness, that you earn your way into Christianity. And so I think it's sort of a weird theological thing, but I think that the reason for this is that many evangelical Christians, particularly on the conservative side, are more political than they are theological, and they're more capitalistic than they are Christian.
I wish we could continue, but I got to go for the next show. But this has been a fascinating conversation, and thank you so much, Jonathan Merritt and the Reverend Jackie Lewis. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Carol Costello at this hour with Berman and Michaela after a break.